Protesters in Charlotte are planning a large-scale rally this weekend, one of more than 1,000 expected across the country, in opposition to what organizers are calling authoritarian overreach.
WBTV's Jason Puckett's been talking with organizers and law enforcement today to see what the plans are and how police are monitoring for safety.
Well, the protest organizers I spoke to said part of First Ward Park here will be turned into a protest area, that they will have a parade and more out here. But we're also hearing from some local law enforcement who are taking this seriously with what's going on around the country and warning protesters to stay peaceful. It's called the No Kings Protest and currently has events scheduled in thousands of U.S. cities, including Charlotte, Rock Hill, Concord, Waxhaw, and Monroe. The protests are being organized by multiple groups, including Indivisible Charlotte, the Charlotte Women's March, and other progressive groups. The organizers told me this is meant to be a peaceful response to what they see as a growing threat to civil rights and democracy, pointing to recent ICE raids and detentions, deportations, and recent federal crackdowns on protests in L.A. as well. They say the protests are also time to push back against a celebration they describe as a, quote, military-style show of power happening on June 14th, which marks both Flag Day and President Donald Trump's birthday.
Trump is saying that he has absolute power when he does not, and we are saying no to that. Indivisible Charlotte, along with all of the partners that I discussed before, we are all committed to nonviolent, peaceful protest.
But law enforcement officials are urging caution. South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson released a statement warning that radical groups could attempt to provoke violence and vowed swift legal action if laws are broken. He wrote, quote, "Let me be clear. If you attack law enforcement, destroy public or private property, or endanger lives in our state, you will be arrested, charged, and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law." Now, we have been looking for any counter-protests out there, any folks who are supporting President Trump and maybe going to be here in Charlotte demonstrating against these protests. So far, we haven't seen those. We will keep you updated if we do. Also want to note that the organizers for No Kings on their website for the thousands across the country are telling those folks to remain peaceful and not bring any weapons to those protests. For now, here in Charlotte, Jason Puckett, WBTV, on your side.